Everyone. Go. All right, for this meeting of the Wyoming Parks and Rec Committee for Tuesday, February 27th. Anyone with their phones, please put them on mute. Also, please note that this meeting is being broadcast and recorded. Recordings will be made available to the town through the town's YouTube channel. So the microphone will pick you up whispering once in a while, so be careful. It just locks into one voice and then I get in trouble. He's never in trouble. So declaration of culinary interest, ask you to declare at the appropriate time, please. Start off with, we have delegations supposedly from Wyoming and Kamlaki Ball Association. So Kamlaki is here, so please give us a rundown update and wants and needs for the spring, please.
Sure. All right. Good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for having us in. We do have a couple of items on our agenda that we'd kind of like to see take place for this year. I'd like to also offer a thanks for looking after us last year for the hydro situation that we kind of got into there. So we appreciate that. That was awesome. For this year, we have just a couple things. We'd like our fields leveled. We'd like
You say level, like rolled?
so rolled and looked after. There's the three at the main park and then the one over at Lakeshore.
True Field came in.
True Field. Okay, so we did have a True Field came in and did provide some consulting for us. So once we get that in writing, we'll pass that along to see what it is. The other ask would be for a water fill station. And that would to be installed on the outside of the canteen area at the Minley Field.
Weren't we doing that last year?
Yeah, it never happened.
Not a water bottle fill station. We provided the association with a quote. What that station would cost. And at that time, we were just told to make sure that we put a potable water sign up over the tap that's outside and that's what we did.
So I know that I can't speak for Wyoming, but they normally get a gravel to level out. So we'd like some gravel as well to level out in front of our canteen area. So this wouldn't be the field, you know,
The red stuff.
the red stuff. It'd just be regular stone for the front of the canteen there. Got some and then we had a question for the group about the canteen area roof being fixed, and there was some issues with some of the shingling, so we just want to make sure that that gets looked at, or how does that get looked at?
The new part,
Yes.
the new stuff we put, because we.
Fixed part of the backside where the storage facilities are, but this is more towards the east end canteen area.
I'll have a look at it.
Sure.
I'll have a look at it. We can bring someone in. Have a look at it and make sure it's not gonna leak and.
Okay. And then the last thing we've talked about, and we have it on a running document, is some safety concerns at the Lakeshore Diamond, specifically with the backstop area. There's some fencing that's kind of heaved up in that area, as well as there's some areas in question around the dugouts, the two dugouts for the home and away. There's some areas in those fencings that kind of need to be tidied up for safety concerns, right?
Looking, we were gonna go ahead. So the fall of last year, after your ball season was done, myself and my staff went in there and we straightened out the backstop, pulled it. dug down it, trenched it back down the way it was supposed to have been trenched, repinned it. So it's been all straightened and we backfilled it. We had a machine come in and dig it out along the side of it so we could get those depths. So the backstop has been done. I don't recall seeing anything along the foul lines, but I can have another look there too.
Okay. All right, so those are the big ticket items that we have for this year on the list. That's all that we have. Sir.
Anyone have any questions? Go ahead, Alex.
For Al, we're still putting a carbon monoxide alarm in that canteen for them as well.
We will. Yeah, I have a set of smoke detectors, carbon monoxide that we purchased just recently for some of the shops, so.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, there was something about the one washroom too, that was supposed to be done. I don't know, up around the ceiling, the area,
It was the light.
did that get fixed?
We tied it in. There's a fluorescent light that has to get put back in. But it was, the complaint there was the exposed box from when the old light went down and they put what they call a pigtail. And there is a temporary fixed.
Has that been fixed? Has that changed?
I'll have to ask, because it was asked to be fixed. Finish up.
We check on that,
Yeah.
to make sure it's this year.
Mhm.
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
It's got right over introduction, so we'll. I try. The people that are here, Jessica's our secretary. Know it all, the one you talk to every time you call in, keeps us straight. Al Little is from our works department and is the main guy that gives the orders. Mike Thompson, one of our residents. Deputy Mayor Nettie McEwen, our new works director, Paul De Silva. Dean Thompson, another resident. Thomas, sorry. Alex Bojan, counselor. Teresa, will kill this, Wildish, and Donna Belanger. Well, moving along, Wyoming ball is not here yet, so we'll skip over them. We have 4.1, which is our minutes from last meeting. We've got a motion from Alex Bojan, seconded by Nettie McEwen, that the regular Parks and Rec Committee meeting minutes be adopted from December 14th, 2023. Everybody had a copy, any discrepancies? All in favor? Us, thank you. Five point one is our new fancy us list. One we started last year, but I see we have a new format. Everybody had a chance to have a look at it. Here's the only thing I see I would like added is on Lake Shore, if we could get the ballpark added to that too, so it doesn't get overlooked.
Make sure.
Like as a heading?
Yeah, I can just add it in there, so, or make a roll for it even, so it doesn't get missed, because it's kind of separate. Not really, with the Hamlacky diamonds.
And come under Lake Shore Community Park then, the ball diamonds?
Well, it's in that park, but it, like I say,
Or
it's
you wanna just keep it separate? Or-
just for these little things with the fence.
Okay, all right.
Doesn't get
Yep.
mixed as all lines.
Sure.
Okay. Anybody else have anything? Need to add, like I say, we'll be adding to it all year long so that things not get put on and don't get mixed. I didn't see anything cleared out. I got last year's list and it, I think, is pretty much done. And what wasn't done has been moved over to this format, so.
Okay, just Sunset Acres, that control burn is supposed to be scheduled in the spring. Is it scheduled or is it, because if you don't schedule it, then they don't have time to do it, so.
We've reached out to them and he's aware that we want to be on top of the list for it, and he's gonna watch the weather. I've already had my guys prepare the, get ready to prepare the perimeter, cut it and get it ready.
Okay.
It's all up to Mother Nature.
Okay, and alert the fire department or?
Yep.
Yeah. Jeez.
Anyone else have anything? Moving on to accounts. 6.1. A motion from Nettie McEwen, seconded by Mr. Bowden. The accounts as listed be received by Parks and Rec Committee December and January. Be received. Any questions on that? Let's start with December. You good? January.
January?
Right under December.
I didn't know that.
It usually comes right after.
I know, but I
On
can
the
read
agenda,
it.
there's 2 Decembers.
Ding, man.
Decembers.
That's why I haven't known. Everything's called December,
Everything's
right?
December, yeah. They're not, but they're different.
I have a question about the $2,300 to install 2 deadbolts. NW locks. It seems like we spend a fortune. Locks.
Due to the vandalism that we were getting in the washroom across the road here, we decided to double deadbolt them, both doors here. And while we were there, we asked them to do the other washrooms that they're automated as well, out of the lake shore. And they come in and special order the deadbolts for where they were putting them.
Those are the automatic.
These are the automatic doors, so during the off season, or if we want them shut down due to issues inside the washroom, we can lock them and it won't be pried open.
Nettie, do you have any questions on that?
Oh, no, well done. No, I'll.
The rest of it's all just hydro. Not much. Yeah, there's not much going on. So I have a motion from Medi and Alex. All in favor? Great, thank you. 7.1 spring newsletter. Got a motion from Mike Thompson, seconded by Alex Bojan again. The report submitted by Paul De Silva, Director of Public Works, dated February 2024 regarding the blue. Or this one. Report by Alex Bojan again, of course, seconded by Nettie McEwen, that the report prepared by Jessica Wilson, Executive Assistant, Public Works, dated February 12, 2024 regarding the draft spring newsletter be received and the staff proceed as directed by the Park and Rec Committee. Any questions on that?
And it keeps going on.
I automatically go.
I know without.
Go ahead, Nettie.
No, I just want to point out that could we put somewhere in there? Keep the dogs out of the baseball diamonds. Hey.
Good one. Thank you. Anyone else see any glaring? All right, you heard the motion, all in favor? Yep. Seven point two. A new one, Donald Belanger, seconded by Alex Bojan. A report by Jessica Wilson, Executive Assistant, Public Works, dated February 12, 2024 regarding the Public Facilities Agreement from North Lambton Community Health Center be endorsed by the committee and the staff forward to the mayor and council to passing of the bylaw. Anything on that agreement? The guys, they use it for, I think they do the walking, isn't it?
Exercise.
At the community center. It's done through Forest Medical Center, but it's. Facilities, so
Yeah.
we're talking about just doing an agreement. The only thing I have is to make sure that the hall is left the way it's found. No ongoing cost for us or work for the alchemists to have to clean it. If they're walking around, they could walk around with the broom.
Well, they're leaving
I don't-
everything, everything put away and cleared and. and Not clean before we start, then we clean it.
Are you part of the
So there,
elderly walkers?
yes, the elderly walkers.
You're the leader of the elderly.
That's probably the oldest, yeah. I haven't got
Anybody else have any
throw at them.
questions, comments, concerns? All in favor? Carried, thank you. 7.3 mobile food and refreshment vehicle request for proposal results and recommendations. Talk to the stone. I think that one.
Yeah, we only received one. Fortunately, we were hoping to get more. We did get some correspondence from another vendor that was hoping to establish a mobile food truck service somewhere. So we asked them for some additional information and we plan to potentially bring that back to this committee at the next meeting.
Okay. Huh, moved by Alex Bojan, seconded by Mike Thompson. That the report by Paul DeSilva, Director of Public Works, February 13th, 2024, regarding the mobile food and refreshment vehicle request for proposal results and recommendations be received and endorsed by the Parks and Rec Committee and forwarded to council for final approval. Any questions, discussion on that? The only one we did receive commitment back was Anita's Coffee, which was at Lamrecton last year. And she's back, wanting to come back this year. It's basically the same money and everything.
Yeah.
Yep.
just in-
But it did open the other parks. We just haven't received anything as of yet.
We didn't receive any complaints about it at all.
Well, not her at all, no, but
Is this limited to anything or say a hot dog vendor can go in there or
not
it's not
there.
a coffee
They
one,
could,
but
they could go,
one of the other ones?
that's what it was set up for, that
So any kind of food or beverage.
Pretty close to that Blue Point one. You're pretty close to the Blue Point one. Are you gonna? Few hot dogs here and there?
no comments, concerns? All in favor? Gary, thank you. Seven point four. Blue Point Recreational Improvements Public Consultation Plan. That's the right one? Yeah. I have a motion by Mike Thompson, seconded by Alex Bojan. That the report submitted by Paul DeSilva, Director of Public Works, dated February 20th, 2024, regarding the Blue Point Recreational Improvements Public Consultation Plan be received and information and staff be directed to create and administer an online and hard copy survey to facilitate public engagement within the Blue Point community. Start with Alex and I'll go to Teresa.
Through you to staff, I'm just wondering, so I know in here, I know when we talked during budget, we talked about, keeping it affordable within budget for the consultation options, and I know we briefly talked about on-site public meeting, because it's relatively low cost in terms of outside of staff time. So I'm just wondering, was the on-site public meeting, was that considered by staff, even though it's not a recommendation?
Yes, through the chair. It was considered by staff. But when you convene the committee, there's meeting pay, so it went above the $500 budget that we were provided to do the consultation. So we thought the best way would be to reach out to the community via a survey of this kind, both in online and hard copy form. in order to engage them and see what they're looking for, what they're hoping to achieve out there. We thought that this was the best way, so that's why we brought this forward.
For clarification, do you mean this committee? Because couldn't we do it like we did with the short-term rentals, where it's 1 or 2 staff members on site? And then the data they collect comes back to the committee at a regular meeting?
Through the chair again, yeah, that's a possibility. When we looked at the most cost effective, I suppose, and easiest way, an online survey seemed to fit the bill. But certainly if it's the desire of the community and this committee that we do an in-person consultation, we could certainly look at that.
And then my last point is just personally, I think it would be a good idea to do an on-site public meeting just to allow for conversation with the residents. And then if we're already planning to mail a paper copy of a survey, instead of mailing a paper copy of the survey, perhaps we can just mail targeted mail to that area to notify them of the public meeting so that they are aware it's happening. And we can have hard copy surveys there as well if we want to. It's just a suggestion for the committee to consider.
We had discussed, like, there's still gonna be a public meeting after the survey.
Yeah, that's the
It
intent.
was just to get some numbers and stuff to talk about. Have the next meeting out at the community center and do a public.
But at that point, we would already have created a plan that we'd be looking for feedback from. I just think it's
Not
important.
necessarily, it would just at least give us an idea of which direction people are going, is the way I look at
Yeah, that's right. I still think
it. We can still do one on.
I just don't necessarily see people getting a survey in the mail and then mailing it back or bringing it here. So if we're gonna, I just see value in an in-person. If we want to do it later, that's fine, but just for a discussion, that's all it was.
I agree with Alex. This online stuff, you know, I'm old. You've already explained that twice.
Online is in there.
I know what online is. I have been versed in that. However, I like the personal touch too, you know, so. Not a face-to-face thing is, I favor that, okay?
Okay.
And as I said once already before, that this online stuff, how do you know one person isn't responding 16 times? And can you answer that one, Paul?
Yeah, through the chair.
If I have to.
Yeah, I mean, we do ask them to put in their address.
Oh, okay,
So we would
Oh,
only
right.
accept one submission per address.
okay. That's good, thank you.
Yeah, and if I may add, through the chair, this was a draft survey. It was open for discussions at this meeting. If you know, we're more than willing to take some of these suggestions back and either amend the survey so that it better fits with the desires of the community, or potentially look at some type of public consultation in person as well.
Does Sunset Acres get this also? This consultation, like you've got to go in through Sunset Park, right?
Right.
So do the people in Sunset Acres get?
Yes.
There is a list,
There's a list of
Oh,
roads.
I didn't,
there is a list of roads in here proposed. Again,
Yeah,
all this was
proposed.
just something to get us started with.
okay,
The idea behind it. Blue Point Drive, Lambton Line, Sunset Drive, Harris Point Lane, Thomas Street, Collingwood Street, Cullen Drive, Van Bree Drive, and Allen Development, Blue Point. So go ahead.
Just $10,000, what exactly?
The 10,000 was just put in the budget so that if we had money to do something if we needed. Because it's a lot
It's
easier.
not going to consult.
not going anywhere.
Or something.
It,
500.
for us to get money out of the budget after the budget's done, it's a lot harder than setting money in and not using it. Then it just goes right back into our parks reserve anyway. So
And also I have a concern too. Certain things are going to affect certain people more than the rest of the people.
absolutely.
So how is that gonna be based then? Like if the mass majority goes, oh, we should have, you know, this, and this, but it directly affects, say, 5 people in one area and 2 people in another area. Like, how's that going to work?
It's going to work to the point where vast majority is gonna be heard more, and we will do our best to rectify, to satisfy the 5, but in dealing with anything, there's some people that are never happy. Right? Not necessarily their
There's some
fault.
people that are gonna get the backlash of a lot of this. And there's already been letters in here about, you know, the noise. Off-road vehicles, possibility of theft. More noise, like it's. The mass majority is gonna go, yeah, we should, but the other people that are directly affected by those things. Are they going to get outvoted because of it? And it's gonna be like, too bad.
Probably, to be honest. Right, like we'll mediate as much as we can. Like, we're not gonna put in the end shell kind of thing, but. If
That's
you,
where it's unfair, because some people are gonna lose their quality of life. For the mass majority, and they don't even, those people don't even realize it or care. The effect they're having on these other people.
and that's. 100%. Because. Where I live, this means nothing to me. Right? It doesn't affect me one bit. I'll never use it. You know, I may walk through it when it's done, but that'll be it.
Same with the people.
That's why we're trying to involve everybody. To get the best bang for the buck. If we want to do it once, we want to do it right, because it's going to be there for 30 years and you're probably not going to get anything done out there. You know, for at least 15.
The gated community, like supposedly anybody that lives around that gated community can't walk through that gated community. But then they have a say in the rest of the community. They're supposed to have their own facilities. We can't use their facilities.
But they're still public, our facilities are still public facilities.
You can't stop them.
You can't stop,
You
like,
can't
they're still
stop
paying
them, but I'm
taxes, they're
saying,
still,
like, why should they have like a mass say in this whole?
because they're paying their own extra fees and everything else to have their own express. Whatever it is they're having there, I have no idea, but. Again, that's. We don't have any way of stopping. Even out of towners coming and using our parks, because that's what they're there for. If you live next to a park. You're definitely gonna be more impacted than the guy that lives around the corner that wants to use the park. If I'm a family of 5 little kids, they're gonna use the park a lot more than me, because I don't have it. Right, like it's. We're trying to do our best, we're trying to consult, we've been. Advocating that we're gonna get the public involved. We wanna hear what you have to say, like I say, I personally don't care what goes on out there. Don't care, you know, if there's a swing set or. A sawhorse or, you know. But we wanna do it right once and then we move on to the next one, but you're also. One park out of, how many parks do we have, Al?
25.
35.
32 or something. So it's, you know, the biggest problem I see. With the township, Old Township. Is before amalgamation, they had money left over they wanted to use up, so Wyoming wouldn't get it, so they put it all in their parks, which is fantastic. But now all the parks are gonna come due at the same time. And that's just the way it is, you know, so it's. We only have so much money each year to dole out. Couple of things.
I'm just thinking too, when that park was established, the Blue Point Park, or
Yes.
any of the parks were established, it was only a very small community. Now, with all this expansion, there is so much extra noise and problems because of it. And that needs to be addressed. Like Grand Bend, they addressed the issue with some of this noise by moving it to an area where people that are using these courts can make all the noise they want to. And it says in here about being 500 feet away from the nearest residence. The tennis court that was there was fine when it was the small little community it used to be. But now it causes too much noise. Too much of a lot of other things, which I don't know if I want to get into that at the moment. Like it, that needs to be addressed. And the majority is gonna go, no, we still want it that way. But it's gone past what it was before. And it needs to be addressed
How are we gonna address it?
by following Grand Ben's example and moving it.
Move the park.
Not the park, the tennis court slash pickleball slash anything else that anybody uses it with. Dog running. The whole deal.
We can look into it, see what it costs. We just put $30,000 into it. The year I got on.
Mhm.
Serviced it, but go there and then you.
Okay, I understand what you're talking about. The only thing I can suggest is that you get behind everybody and have them give their opinions. If we get 75 negative opinions, this won't fly, you know, in my opinion. But if we get only positive ones, well, then it'll probably happen. I don't know how soon it would happen. But if you don't, like, if I were living out there, I would not like a trail behind the place, of course not. But where else do you put it? And you're suggesting also that we move this park.
Tennis court.
Could you tell me where to though? I'd
There's
like
lots of empty space out there. There's a whole Sunset Acres Park that never gets used for anything. There's that,
We're gonna have a burn on it.
no, I'm talking about the one across the road. Or even in that
That's a
one,
passive one.
even that one, use it right out by there's that huge hump that's out there.
Yeah.
Those courts can be moved out there and expanded on if they needed to be, because there's tons of room out there and parking spots.
Yeah, well. We'll have to take note and decide, I guess.
I just want, just for clarity's sake, because I read a lot of those articles about the Grand Bend pickleball courts. They didn't necessarily just pick up and move a park. They only relocated pickleball. And it was to do, in the article, it said it was to do with a lawsuit related to the noise pickleball makes. So they didn't necessarily pick up a park and move it. It was a change of use to pickleball that they removed and put in a different park, just for clarity.
I have a couple things on the actual report that I would like, things I noted and plus emails I've been getting. If we could have some kind of ranking system on, we've got it broke down in 4 areas. That, you know, where you guys concentrate on first, like, we want this first, second, third is more important to us, and should we include the pond area in the survey, was one that was asked. I never even thought of it, but it is a part of that whole area.
Yeah, it should be.
Should that be addressed? I didn't even realize there was a trailer. Yeah. Also, the accesses need to be addressed. What are the current plans? Like for the 2 that are existing, are we looking at like boardwalks right from the road down? Because to me, that's the only safe way of doing it.
But myself and the director had that conversation this morning on where we can go with those. The current one that we wood chip every year, the reason why that was put in that the hill direction was because of the initial slide of the bluff there. So they removed a section of stairs out of there and developed a trail down to the bottom. The 2 hills on either side of that trail are weeping all the time, which can always keeps the last 25 feet of that wet. The only thing that we may, out of our discussion, would be some like ground grade type steps down there to break up the wood chips and stuff like that. So we're not constantly walking on a pile of wood chips down there. The other access point would be the one with Cullen Drive. And it's under a review with engineers right now. The outlet, we are planning on turning that into a municipal drain outlet. And getting an engineer we have to get all the considerations and stuff through the conservation authority and stuff before we move forward with the repairs to the bluff on there.
Can we add something to it about the grasslands, which is that sunset? I'm hearing from some people they can't stand it. They think it's a waste of time. It's a huge waste of space. Is there something we can better utilize it for, other than the
Court.
grass
Court.
prairie land or whatever it was designed for?
Through the chair, if I may, I guess that was the intention of having the other box for each section, is that the residents could make their intentions clear by checking that other box and stating, you know, if we didn't include a certain option, they could certainly put it in there.
I'll go back to the tennis court and pickleball court and the other stuff that it's used for. There's of all the issues in that neighborhood, that one causes the most issues with loud screaming, noise, music, kids howling after dark. You're trying to go out with your dog at night, trying to freak you out. The trespassing on the adjacent property of the resident, as far as going into their backyard, just walking in through the fence and going into the backyard. And if they hit the house or the vehicles, instead of coming over and cursing and swearing, if they just say, okay, sorry, hit your house, da, 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 is there any damage? This all needs to be addressed.
But that's the trespassing part. That's no issue of ours, really. Like, that's a OPP thing. How would
You
we,
call the OPP, you're gonna get retaliation from the people that you're calling the OPP.
what would we do to stop it?
Move the offending site.
All right. One thing I'll put in here, just because of all the emails I've gotten over the last little bit, and I got a bunch today that I didn't answer because I got home at 3 o'clock and read them and came here. So I'm sorry if you're here and I didn't respond, but I did read them. I'm a little confused about the trail part. Is I know at council we spend money, time, creating new trails. We're trying to connect trails because everybody wants trails. This is one spot where we actually own the property, can put a trail in, and we're being told to stop. So yeah, if you're one of the 3 or 4 houses that are there, have a trail going through the backyard, but we have a trail going around the pond that goes around 30 people's backyard. And I haven't heard anything about them. So, you know, by the looks of it, we're not gonna use that roadway, that if we're not gonna put a trail in there, what are we gonna do with it? We're gonna put it up for sale and get rid of it, because for a town, it makes no sense to own a roadway that we're not gonna use, but yet we're liable, we're, you know, upkeep, somebody gets hurt back there, we're paying for it.
Look, if the trail ever evolved, the fence on those backyards would probably help curtail any activities of, you know, the kids going.
So is that a fence that I'm paying for?
It
Or
will be,
landowner?
no. A fence, because you're putting a trail in there, that the town would put a fence up. And then maybe you could have agreements come in that they maintain it after it's put up initially. It's just a suggestion. I'm just trying to think, you know, because you want to keep these guys happy.
I'm
you
just.
know. At least I
One
do.
spot where we actually own property that we can put a trail on instead of
Yeah.
having to pay for it, and we don't want it. So, which again, it's not bothered me a bit.
I think that goes back to Alex's point, is that, you know, go through the process, public consultation.
That's exactly.
It's like anything.
I think
he brings up a good point. I mean, maybe it's a smaller meeting with a couple staff to, you know, see who comes out, and then, you know, I mean, a bigger meeting, I'm not sure, but you have to have that. And you're gonna have the potentially the vocal minority, but I mean, I see this as a benefit to the community. I'm a big walker. My wife and I walk all the time, and I live in Wyoming, but I would probably go out there and walk that trail. And I think you'd probably see other people as well. So I almost think the survey should be on some sort of social media platform to have input as the community as a whole, maybe, but that's not gonna be a popular point, but at the same time, I mean, we are a community as a whole, and potentially input should be everybody. But I mean, we have to go through the process, but a public meeting is obviously very necessary. I'm not sure what, I understand Teresa's point about the tennis court, but we're not dealing with a tennis court right now.
How wide is that?
The unopened road allowance is 20 meters. It's a standard.
So 60 feet.
66 feet.
So
Is it all wooded? Is it plain slate?
pretty much, yeah. That, you know, perhaps if you put it to the north and then tree all along or something.
Yeah.
Anyway. I'll let you speak just because
Well,
keep it short and sweet, please, because
I will be
Isn't the public-
concise. I understand. So I appreciate what you said, Alex, about complication. I think that would be extremely beneficial, especially given what you've just said, that you didn't even know there was a trail around the pond. So it's clear that members of the council aren't familiar with the area. They don't know what amenities we have, what amenities we need. We came here with the hopes, because we kept being reassured that it hadn't been decided, but the discussion of the last 10 minutes kind of tells me that you guys have decided you're putting in a trail and the money is going to be spent on a trail or nothing at all. But that's just because the whole discussion, if we have this land, we want to put a trail in, that's what we've all just heard. To us, that's coming across as you've already decided the money is going to be spent on a trail, despite what the public is saying. We've given numerous other priorities. And I think an open survey would be actually the way to move ahead with this so that you can get an unvarnished and uninfluenced idea of what people actually want for the community. Because when we talk to people, if you look at, Kristen could probably speak to the Facebook group, nobody's mentioning trails. Everybody's saying beach access, beach access, beach access, playground equipment, playground equipment. So the discussion today has been dominated simply by this trail, and it does not seem that council is willing to look at other options that the community wants the money to be spent on. How much money do we have for the Blue Point Park? You've stated there are many other parks. We understand that. So how much money has been being allocated for Blue Point?
at this point, none.
None. So we have an unlimited amount of money for Blue Point? I don't think so. I think we're gonna get a certain amount. I see Polly might have an idea.
Yeah, if I may, in the capital plan, there's $10,000 set aside this year.
Right.
35,000 the following year and 35,000 the year after that. So a total of $80,000.
So that's not significant. We could maybe get one thing done. And I feel that maybe for council, the easiest thing to do is the trail. However, in looking at what the community actually wants, I think given the other priorities the community has, a trail is not going to be something that people are going to be saying, yes, over everything else, we want this trail. And the problem with the survey is the way it's worded. It's very guiding towards a trail, the way that is divided up into zones. It's not clear that, hey, if you pick something from, we don't have money for zone A, zone B, zone C, zone D. All of the money is the same money. It's going to Blue Point. So essentially the community is going to have to pick one priority for that $80,000 because that's not much. That's not going to get you very much. That might get us playground equipment. That might get us our upgraded beach accesses. Like we've got 4. 2 apparently seem to have been written off just with danger, not maintained. We've got potentially 300 more people coming into this community. They're going to want beach access. The beaches are small. That might be something that council should look at so that everybody in the community can go to the beach. So it's not overcrowded. Parks, playground equipment. There's a lot more children in the area now than what it used to be. Money would be well spent on playground equipment. I think council also underestimates the difficulty of making that trail. A nature trail, if that's what we're aiming for, going in there, cutting down the trees, making that trail, I think that might cost you a lot more than $80,000. I believe London is looking at creating an accessible trail, which is much shorter than the area we have in there, and it's costing them 75. So that's for a much shorter area than the area that council seems to really want to put a trail on. So I don't think the money, the 80,000 is gonna go far in terms of that trail. The current trail we have around the pond, which you were not even aware of, isn't maintained. It could be connected. There's a dip where the water runs in. If council actually built up the trail in that area, it would be a really great walking path. I think it's probably about 1 kilometer. I'm sure people would use it for running, that sort of thing, pushing strollers. Right now, you can't even see that trail. So there's so much that could be done in the community with what we have currently. But it seems based on this survey, based on the conversation today, that council's really leaning towards this trail. And honestly, if you ask the community members to rank in priority, what is most important for them to do with that $80,000, I don't think you're gonna get the trail as their top choice. So I really appreciate and like your idea of coming out, speaking to the community, actually seeing what we have so that you understand maybe hacking a path through that forest behind the park isn't really what people want or what they would use. You know, I think that community engagement and having people come out is really important. And I really appreciate that you want to engage with the community like that. I think that's super important. And I'm glad that you guys want to invest in Blue Point. I think everybody is happy to see that the township is going to spend some money in the community. It's just, I think, helping you guys understand what the priorities of people in the community actually are.
That's exactly why I said, put priority on what. If we get all this done, you're probably looking at best case scenario would be 8 to 10 years. Right? By the time, you know,
Yeah, it's a long
how do
time.
we utilize the property we have? How do we connect them? If we want them connected, do we want that prairie grass thing gone and something else put in there? But, you know, tennis courts out. I'm
And I,
not pretending to know any of that.
right.
And that's why we're saying, that's why we've been. Every letter we get is you guys have already decided what you're doing. You're already doing this, you're already doing that. We're not doing anything. The only thing we did was put $10,000 in so we could get the ball rolling. That's,
I hope
Okay,
that
so-
you can appreciate from the conversation that we've just heard. It's all very much trail Latin. I want a trail. Let's have vote on trail. We own this land. Let's put in a trail. That's what we're hearing as community members. So if the intent is to hear what the community wants, I think a very broad-based open survey asking, what do you want? Leaves that ability for the community to say, we want,
the survey.
we want this. Pardon?
The survey
The survey question is. what would
breaks
you like
down
to see
each
in-
zone. Do you use it? And then at the end of each, there's room for comments. And that's hopefully where we're gonna get a lot of the feedback from.
The problem is the zoning is arbitrary and doesn't include everything in Blue Point. And it's very guiding is because there's only one thing in trail section. You want this trail. You know, people are saying, oh, do I want this trail? Yes or no? Well, sure, I'd rather have a trail than not have a trail, and maybe not understanding that, hey, there are these other options that we could spend money on. This is the amount of money we have. This is what we're doing. So I think that the survey is misleading in that sense and really should be focused on a broad-based question. What would you like to see money spent on? What are your priorities? And then you can have the priorities ranked. You know, 80 people said playground, 20 people said beach, 1 person said trail, or maybe 100 people say trail, and there's your answer. But I think a broad-based survey to get that feedback instead of guiding people towards certain answers is much better to get the real feedback of what the community wants rather than what maybe council sees as priority. The problem is, I think people are looking at this community on a map and they're not actually living in the community. They don't actually see what the issues are, what the actual resources are, how these decisions are going to affect the community. It's one thing when you're sitting in an office looking at a map saying, hey, it's great to connect point A to point B through here. But when you actually go and you look, maybe it's not such a great idea as you might think just looking at a piece of paper. So I really like going out, speaking to the community, seeing these accesses, seeing these points firsthand and understanding what the community is really asking for.
Thank you.
We have at other meetings talked about the inclusive playground equipment. Right?
Pardon me, sorry, I missed.
We haven't just all this time been talking about paths through there. We have at other meetings talked about getting playground equipment that's inclusive for all children. Like we have been talking about other stuff besides
Yeah.
a path.
Alex.
Yeah, just building off original conversation about in-person meeting, and that's kind of what I envisioned, because I know council, for example, did a strategic priority setting exercise where we did just that, where we ranked certain things. I also think it would be very effective, especially for a very involved like niche community here, that's very involved clearly with their neighborhood. we can lay it out, like Paul just said, like we have this much money for 2024, this much money for 2025, and this much money for 2026 built into our plan that is considering all the other parks we have to fix and maintain. So transparently, here's what we're working with over the next 3 years. Rank your priorities with that in mind, and I think we'll get a very good idea, building off of what we just heard. It'll tell us,
Well, that's was the intent of the survey, was to.
Yeah, if I can add to that, please. I just kind of wanted to address, there seems to be a suggestion that maybe that the survey was a bit leading and I can assure you that that was not my intent whatsoever. I don't have any agenda here. I just started in November. I looked at the area, put together the questions that I saw.
You're the
you know,
bad guy.
Yeah, I put together a list of questions that I thought would help guide the discussion, and the intent was to bring it here, get the feedback, change the questions, amend the survey, go out with it, and then have a public consultation. I think the desire of staff is certainly to work with the community and provide them the amenities that they want. I can't speak for the committee, but I would think that that's probably the same.
Go ahead, Dean, I was just gonna.
If I could share, for those of you that were not privy to the details of the meeting where this whole process started, it was to put $10,000 into the budget so that we could start the ball rolling on something, a community. And we used the term maybe as like a trail, just as an opening conversation. It wasn't, we want a trail. It was just to start the talks. Since that meeting, it seems to have spiraled where the rumors have got out that we're putting in a trail, and the neighbors are now voicing their concerns or their ifs and what ifs about if we did that. Or that's based on assumption. We have not made any sort of decision definitively that that's what's going to happen. It just opened the conversation to, hey, would the neighborhood like this? And we wanted to get some traction. And obviously the survey should be used for our voice, because I live in Blue Point. I have that same thought that there are ifs and whats and could be's. And at the end of the day, you're right. We're not going to please everybody with whatever the decision is when it's the numbers that roll in and say 80% of us or 80% of the neighbors would like this. There's going to be some people that are not happy with that. So ask for clarity. There's no intent by this parks group to just railroad into a trail. We wanted the open conversation of what does that neighborhood want?
Said, thank you. I was just gonna call on you because I hadn't heard from you today. Perfect.
Present.
Yeah. Present. So we're back to the survey.
and I don't wanna, I'm not poo-pooing and all at all for the survey. Surveys are used everywhere. They're used everywhere. I just think there are certain avenues where a survey in conjunction with, because there
Perhaps,
just to build off that, there's a lot of, I don't want to say misinformation, but there's a lot of assumptions being made that the trail is being done completely. So I think a face-to-face conversation will go a long way to just.
what if we have it that they bring the surveys back to us at that meeting? The hard copy.
Like you mean, it's fill out the survey and meet us at the public.
We can mail it in, but if not, we'll be Monday at 7:30 at the park thing.
I want Dean to say that beautiful speech again.
So are you gonna, make a motion to say something about, like adjusting the survey to being more open and then having a set date for public consultation within the notice?
That'll be, first of all, we'd have to set that date. Which would be just a quick on-site meeting, but not the official public meeting. Correct?
It's just an on-site meeting.
Do it.
An on-site meeting out of the community center, is that what we're thinking, or we're thinking
That site at the park,
go to the park?
Just for staff?
No,
just a few of us. So just,
Scope it out.
which would probably mean yes, you.
And
Take notes.
We can meet you there.
And then we're.
And then bring
adjusting
that back as part of the survey. And bring it all back to the public meeting. That this is what we gathered, this is where we're at. And lay it out. Is that what I'm hearing?
So a few staff members are gonna go out to. And then we're going to mail out a survey with a public consultation meeting.
No, we send that out still.
I think it just needs to be in one.
Yeah, I mean, bringing the survey back to the meeting that we intend to discuss the survey on doesn't give us enough chance to actually review the survey.
No, that's what I mean, but we can collect them there if they don't want to mail them back to you, the hard copy. They can bring them that night.
Let Alex explain.
Hopefully I can clarify what at least I was thinking and what you're hopefully thinking. We're gonna be getting a staff report about what we heard in the survey. So backing up, we mail the survey. We've already identified that we're mailing a survey. In that mailer, it has a hard copy of the survey. And it has a leaflet that says there will be an on-site discussion on X date at X location, if it's at the park. And the way I see it is whether it's staff or whether it's the chair of the committee or whomever's there. Is an opportunity for the residents to bring the hard copy survey to that on-site meeting. Have a face-to-face conversation about what we're thinking, what the reason behind the survey. We can explain what we've explained here tonight, where we're not railroading this trail. We're trying to identify areas of improvement using this budget, just to provide that face-to-face in which staff can then take what they hear at that on-site meeting, plus the survey results, and then formulate their staff report to bring back to this committee to say, here's what we heard. That's what I envision.
That would be at a public meeting.
The on-site
The
part,
public.
the on-site part, yeah.
No, even the,
Oh, but then the results come back?
I'm thinking we do one out at the community center. This group meets and we set aside time to present it and people can comment on it. But
I just see it as part of our committee meeting, but it can be a special meeting too. Yeah.
well, just because not all of us may not be at that on-site meeting, especially like say all the staff and everything else, so. Now legally, does that constitute a meeting?
We could do it, we could just move the regularly scheduled committee meeting to a different venue.
Yeah, that was my thought, and then that way we're going that way. But I like the on-site thing.
Because the staff report will, in theory, include the stuff we heard at the on-site plus the survey results, and that's what we're getting at that meeting at the.
Yes. Do I dare?
Quick question for Paul. Paul, when you do your survey, can you tell them we've only got this much money and we're only picking one thing? Because there's not money for everything. So if you want to say, do you want this or do you want that? Of course, we want it all. But reality is we're only going to get one thing. So if you're telling everybody we've got this much money, you can pick one thing because that's all it's going to pay for. Let's say if we do move the courts and all that kind of stuff, that probably doesn't even cover all that with playground equipment.
That would be $250,000.
Okay, but also if you did the trail, that's all we're getting. We're not gonna get any playground equipment. We're not gonna get anything else. So you should be saying on your survey, we're picking one thing. Because that's realistic. Because otherwise everybody says, oh yeah, well, we can use this, we can use that, but that's never gonna happen. That's my thought. That's all.
Perfect.
Wasn't the playground equipment slated for an upgrade anyway? So it's not really in on,
3-4 years. That was part of that. Well, the capital money,
oh, okay.
85
I
grand.
thought when you were saying that a lot of the other parks are getting upgraded.
Oh, like
Playground
they're-
equipment, that it's like something that was separate from that.
No.
Yes, no?
I think that's in reference to the capital asset plan that Paul was mentioning, that there's stuff allocated for next year and the year after, and that's just to. It's a 10-year plan to make sure we're replacing our equipment evenly, so that is.
That take up that same money that's been raised for, okay. That's what I didn't know that. That money that was raised by the Huron Crest going in and then this other community going in, that went to just that area and it's for everything. Maybe that's the understanding that's not out there either, that money is for
You know,
all over.
right at the start of the survey that we're talking a budget of 85,000. Makes it simple and easy and
Yeah, it minimizes what they want.
Yeah, so the reason I was trying to get this done at this meeting is because we do not have a meeting next month. But if time is not of the essence here, I could go back with these comments, try to revise this survey a bit. Just based on what we've heard and bring it back to the April committee and we could decide on it then. And then I can also provide, you know, some dates of, then we could have the in-person meeting at this date. I just think that there's a lot of questions that are happening here.
nothing's gonna get done in the next 3-4 months.
Right, and that's why I'm saying if it's not, time isn't of the essence, we're not trying to. In the playground equipment this year, the $10,000 that we have, we could carry forward into 2025 if we had to. I think that perhaps that might be a good idea.
I'm okay with that, you guys? Like I say, we're not, there's no deadline, so we're not.
I think Jessica wants-
Go ahead, Jessica.
So you're gonna defer this and then bring it back in April,
Yes.
or
By the
like
sounds-
motion? I'm just wondering.
I would assume we're gonna defer,
Well, up to the committee, of course.
Why
I
would
just,
we defer it?
just to give them the time to rewrite the survey.
Well, we can still, as amended, you can adjust it.
We can pass
Like-
the motion
If
as,
you're okay with
we can
them,
pass motion as amended. That includes the on-site meeting
We're gonna-
process.
you write it, because you're gonna be able to read it. Okay. You won't be able to read my writing.
Like they do need new,
As amended,
Playground
including on-site.
and they need good access down to that beach. That, like those wood chips they need stairs there. And no offense, but I could cut out of
Well, I
the,
think like,
Yeah.
like,
That was
like
the
that.
issue is
that's just gonna,
going down that slope.
it's not gonna do much.
There's
They need
always the
stairs.
opportunity to put another set of stairs in. I
Yeah.
think that you have the platform still up there off of
Yeah.
the upper level.
Yeah, so, you know.
Have new stairs rebuilt back into it, so
Yeah.
it's. It was directed.
close to- Yeah, I know.
directed previously to remove, so.
Cause the beach, you know, we live in the most
Seeing that,
area in Ontario. Geez, let's use the beach.
We only have one access really though.
Yeah, you do. Well, the other one, you don't wanna go down, you fall. We get there.
Need a rope. No, you use it, there is a rope.
Oh, is there a rope there?
Need it. Otherwise you
At the
can't get
bottom.
down.
No, that's not to be used. It's on Collingwood, the end of Collingwood there, you mean?
Colin. On
No. Colin is, yeah, I know where you mean, but there's an access there at Collingwood. It's very, very dangerous.
Yes.
So we've put yeah,
you
people
done
have
your,
fallen there.
you done your meeting?
I'll go on a little longer. Sorry,
We
Mr.
don't have a meeting in March. Do we try and set for our informal meeting that sometime in March?
Why not?
We wait and do it in April, but we gotta put a date on this thing if we're gonna do the
How
engagement.
long do you need?
I was hoping to get the survey out next week, allow 4 weeks. Then I would, look at the data, hopefully draft a staff report for the April committee meeting, whatever date that falls on.
Okay. Well, no,
So we want something near the end of March.
April.
No, March for get the students back. So
There were dates included in the report, tentative dates, of course.
When would you have that?
that's the one I'm trying to,
Yeah. Well, you can't do the week of March 10th because that's a spring break, so
and we want it near the end of March.
all over the place. First. Oh, you want it on a Saturday?
don't
People
care
up there-
when.
Oh, evening, is okay on the 21st. We have generally Parks Board meetings on.
Up to you guys, what do you think?
Everybody available 21st of March? Let's.
21st, 28th,
I can't be there, but go ahead with them.
Well, you need to be there. 20th?
would you
I can
possibly?
do 20.
20th, okay?
Baby class.
You have a what?
I have baby class with my wife on that day. The 20th.
You better be there.
20th of Wednesday?
Sorry, is this for the
The
in
Wednesday,
Yes.
person?
Yeah, just
Pull that
a
from
site
Paul?
visit,
Yes.
Okay.
or site visit.
That's the same. Your order.
Yeah, but how about the 20th?
Center?
You guys walk down the
I think we're
street.
talking about on site.
Yes.
That's the on-site one, the 20th of March.
Do you need anybody to go with you?
I'm
Well,
sure
that's- we
you
want all of you there. That's what-
I know where it is.
No, we'll give you a tour.
Does that work?
I'm busy yapping, I'm sorry.
It's like
I'm getting used to it. The 20th, does that work for everybody that wants to go to this thing?
Yes, everybody's nodding. Yeah. Lisa, I don't see.
5:30,
Um.
thinking light wise, it gives us
At Blue Point.
Blue Point
Blue Point Park.
Park.
Blue Point Park. We'll meet there
It's
and
snowing.
We'll meet there. You're upset.
so we'll make it the 20th, 5:30. Site visit. Not a meeting.
If it's raining,
Just for,
welcome to use my shop.
Chad, thank you. Yes. And you're not, well, then we should put the address in.
It's raining.
Drinks after, is that her? We'll arrange it with staff if you're going, or, yeah, one of you should, but we'll go. You don't, both. Up to you guys. That work? So an hour ago, Mike Thompson and Bojan made a motion that a report submitted by Paul De Silva, Director of Public Works, dated February 20th, 2024, regarding the Blue Point recreational improvements, public consultation plan be received, information and staff be directed to create and administer an online and hard copy survey to facilitate public engagement within Blue Point community as amended and including dates for public engagement. Good enough? All in favor?
Would you like to put the dates in there? So
We
that-
can now,
you
because we
know?
just decided it,
March 20th.
Because then the rest of council will realize what we're doing too, you know,
March
20th.
20th. 2024. 5:30 PM. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you very much. We'll see you guys on the 20th. That's the word.
You want to have people meet you or not really?
Absolutely. That's the whole idea of it.
Mhm.
So,
Cause there'll be an invite in with the survey.
yeah.
If that means
Are you gonna include like Denny's idea there of like the stairs to beach access in your survey? Like, you're changing the survey? Is it gonna be open or is it still going to have all of your different components?
Can I answer this question?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No, can you?
Yeah, through the chair. we'll review as staff all of the comments following the meeting. And as the motion states, the survey will be as amended.
I'm saying if a third beach access is most important to you, then that's where we'll concentrate on. Then, you know, if there's money left,
Did it work?
that's what I mean, like that's, there's two there that aren't being used. But I'm guessing they're not being used because there's a lot of money to get them up to snuff. You know, but if that's where you want the money to go, then by all means, that's where we'll look.
Which is, yeah.
I mean, that's what this whole thing's about. That's what. Yes, go ahead, Dean.
Maybe to clarify for your question, will there be a spot on your survey for other? If we've got 4 or 5 points that don't address what you're after, can we give them an option for other, and maybe the others will fill up with 5 or 6,
Or something we haven't even thought of.
something we haven't thought of, or something we haven't heard.
I believe we could probably include that at the end of the survey, a spot for comments.
So you're planning on still leaving it with those zones that don't include everything and are kind of leading to certain yes or no aspects?
Or you could go with my idea. Pick one.
Well, I think just.
I would like a ranking on there,
A simple.
because if we can get, if we can do 1 and part of 2. Perfect. You know, then we'll get one done, we'll work on two and
But I think just a
On
very
the road.
short, open-ended survey, what improvements would you like for Blue Point, rank in order of priority? And then leave it to the individual to say, parks, stairs, trail, whatever it is.
Or the
that's
committee,
exactly,
And then not have.
take that away.
That's the only way we're gonna hear their voice.
yeah,
That's right.
We do appreciate you guys allowing us to speak, taking our inspiration, and to me, this is what democracy is all about, to be able to have this back and forth, this respectful dialogue, so it is really appreciated that all of you are engaging with us and, working together to create something better for our community, so it is really appreciated, so thank you for that.
perfect, thank you. Thank you for.
I would like us to just get our faces out of here.
So we're getting out of here by 7. I promise.
Charge for the entertainment.
As long as you're done with our section, we're gone.
Have a good night.
Thank you.
Okay, so this trail we're putting in.
I'm joking, I'm joking. Nice, thank you.
So do we, we're gonna spend 80 grand on a trail.
I can see the newspaper tomorrow.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. 8.1 committee reports. I think we did Blue Point Park already. Kamlaki Ball, Nettie, anything other than
No. Just keep the
Right.
dogs out of the park.
Highland Blend, Nettie, Teresa?
That's where we need playground equipment. We should make that a premier park.
Where?
Highland Glen. When people are down there getting their boats in the water, then the whole family can be involved, and you can go to the beach, you can playground equipment, they can have picnicking, they can.
If they're gonna go boating, they're gonna go boating. They're not gonna be going to the park like.
It's a whole
Sort of family affair.
Yeah. Well, we should have a couple premier parks like Lamorecton, and that it's getting there, I think.
Getting there. It better be there. I think it's beautiful.
It is.
Between Landmarkton and Lakeshore.
Yeah.
They're basically the same.
That's where.
Can't ask for much more.
It'd be nice to have a couple real premier parks.
You don't think
No.
Kamlaki Park is nice? What's the matter with Kamlaki Park? I'm waiting.
Beautiful. Bryan Park's.
Some of the ones we did too.
Bryan Park is beautiful.
Shabby.
Okay, moving on.
Okay.
Lakeshore. Right away, Rose. Nothing. Lamrecton, Lakeshore, nothing. Maybe. Nothing.
Nothing.
Got new locks for $2,000. McEwen Park,
Yeah, go in there.
all right, good. K Park, Mike.
Nothing.
I have to get off out of the.
Wyoming Ballpark, me, nothing. They're supposed to be here. Wyoming Trail,
Nothing.
you say,
Better not like that from me.
Wyoming Top Park. Good. Is there anything on that? Correspondence, 9.1. Which is, this is the one right by McEwen, huh?
This point, what, yeah, and that's right by where published.
Yeah, like,
Yeah, just before.
so we had a letter written in, you all got a copy of it, concerns about the pine cones coming off the trees and they were to be trimmed. Al, do you want to comment on this?
Yep, we spoke with residents there that have the concerns. I felt that I couldn't make a educated judgment on the trees, so I called in Ontario's Choice to estimate the trees to see if there was any trimming to be done on the trees. He responded back with an email to us that the trees were perfectly healthy and didn't see where it would do them any good to trim them down. So we've passed this on to the Parks Committee to make a decision on what they'd like to see done with them.
It's those evergreens that, they drop all their cones, of course. And they also look really sparse on the bottom. Is that what they start looking like? I was out there today. I didn't see any trees that need in that park.
They're right along the north fence line. They are very healthy trees. The branches come out about, they start about 6 feet up and they look like evergreen trees.
Oh, I didn't make a motion. I'm just talking.
I've got a note here that no matter what we do, we're not gonna do it till late spring, early summer if we do anything.
Yeah.
So why don't we add it to our checklist for our parks tour, that we all have a look at it?
Sure.
Yeah, and that will. Okay. 9.2, Lakeshore Park Use, Lakeshore Community Church. I've got a copy of that letter asking for the use of Lakeshore Park for kids program. The
August 6th through the 9th.
Is that what it is? August 5th and 9th for,
6th through the 9th, sorry.
through the 9th. For them to put on a free program. Any discussion on that?
No, I just think it's a great idea. Hey, and it's during the week, so they're not gonna be.
I would suggest it's not gonna interfere with you guys. It's during the day. I think it's right till noon, isn't it?
Only till noon, yeah.
9 to noon. It's just they're gonna do volleyball. It's just a kids thing. I assume they're asking for that. Free, or is there?
I haven't seen that.
They aren't set on the location. I just thought I'd bring it to you.
Cause they got first right? If they can't get that, then they wanna come to Lakeshore. Yeah.
But
So
we need to even.
it's like $80 for like a fee typically, and then they have to give it to council to be written off, from my understanding.
Yes, that's how we usually do.
So.
They're not charging, they're not generating money, so.
No, I don't see a problem with it. And it's during the week in the morning where like they're interfering with anybody, so. Do you have anything on? Evergreen trees in the park. Oh, we did a thing. I'll do that one. Oh, motion by Donna, seconded by Teresa, that the Parks and Rec Committee direct staff to move forward with a rental agreement with Lakeshore Community Church for the use of Lakeshore Park from, should have looked at this before I started, 6th to the 9th, 2024. While their church undergoes renovations, the staff and that the staff forwards the agreement to council for final approval. No issues on that. All in favor? Great, thank you.
I might have just blacked out for a second. Did we give direction to staff for that previous one? With the tree trimming, that we're just leaving it till we do our parks tour? Or is staff looking for direction?
That was a motion from Donna, seconded by Teresa, that the Parks and Rec Committee direct staff on how to proceed regarding the evergreen trees.
I just want to make sure that Al's got direction.
Well, I didn't think there was anything, it was just a letter, but there was actually
Heard on that they having them thrown at their house
pine cones,
is
yes.
the issue.
Well, I think it's just that they're a mess, but tree, I don't know what. We'll have a look at it when we do our tour, so that's our direction. All in favor? Good. Thank you. 10.1 Blue Point Trail Community Court.
That was just correspondence.
Huh?
That was the correspondence that we already talked.
So everybody got one of those? We're down to new business. 11.1 new business. You want to take this one?
I have it.
You take them.
One of the residents requested pickleball lines be added to the second tennis floor at McKay.
Yeah, apparently they painted the first set. And they're willing to paint the second set.
I have had that discussion with a resident and have reached out to our contracted line painter that we use for our parking lots. And he was the one that did the one in Blue Point. So I'm waiting for him to get back to me on that. But yeah, it's doable. We can do it.
Okay.
But did somebody offer to do it? You said?
Well, he said they thought they did it before, the
Yes,
first,
they did.
first quarter. So if we got them the paint, they do the second one.
Why not do that? Instead of giving them contract?
I've already got them coming in and paint.
If they're coming to paint, if we take them.
It's got a little wheel cart that'll be, he'd be in another.
Oh, I see, okay. Oh, it's just that, you know, I'm old and I like to save money, I hear you.
Brush.
And then
Just discussing the spring parks tour date, and I suggested May 4th. Just cause that would give me or staff enough time to review any sort of comments and have the agenda out around May 9th for the May 16th meeting.
that's when we all go out and look at the parks. Everybody go
Last year, we got together in groups of like 3, I believe, met around 8,
3 or 4.
9,
Then
split.
Adam at that time bought us all lunch, being the works director.
I think the chair should do it.
There has no credit card.
So
Fourth work for everybody?
did you want to, I feel like last year we met. What time did we meet? I feel like it was late,
Let's meet it, let's get early.
8:39 or
That's what I'm thinking.
8:30.
Date if you want.
I'm off at 5 or
Five?
so.
No,
8 o'clock?
8 o'clock,
I would rather go early, so we're done earlier.
It's
8 a.m.
It's Kentucky Derby Day, you know.
Oh, see,
Yeah.
8 a.m.
he's gotta buy a hat.
Yeah, we'll meet here.
8 o'clock.
And then one of our council members made a comment at the last council meeting about gates at Point View.
we had a quote from Lambton Fencing last week, and we gave them the go-ahead to put those gates on.
Point view, good. Get that on.
The one, there's a single, you're not putting the gate there, are
The
you?
2 single gates, yeah, the 2 man gates. So the children won't, can't escape.
Okay, I just. Don't understand why you want a gate there.
They don't want them running through the gate and out onto the road. The ones out by the highway.
Okay, they don't feel like super.
All right. Down to the nitty gritty. Anybody got anything else they want to bring up before we close her? A motion by Donna, seconded by Teresa, that the regular Parks and Rec committee meeting be adjourned. All in favor? Thank you.